Lady Evelyn Constance Smythe, age 46. Let me have your personal jewellery and handbag, please.
Why have I been transferred here from Bristol? How much longer am I going to be on remand?
If you have any questions to ask, you must make an application to see the governor.
You mean Faye Boswell?
Your handbag, please. One lipstick, powder compact, notebook, pair of brown gloves, car keys, driving licence, wristwatch, white metal and bracelet with white stones.
Platinum and diamonds, actually. And earrings, gold.
Earrings, yellow metal. Is all this yours? £55?
Yes, I never like to carry too much about with me.
Sign here, please. You will then go with this officer, take a bath, and proceed to the remand wing.
This is ridiculous.
Any more questions?
I've had my bath in Bristol prison this morning. Surely there is no need for another bath.
What is not my concern. You must now obey instructions here.
This way, please. Jackson, Elizabeth Jane. In there, please.
I tell you, I don't need a bath.
Hello, please.
Looks as though it could do with a coat of paint. The sooner I'm out of this place, the better.
Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Miss Parsons. You want to see me?
Yes, madam. It's about one of the new remand prisoners. Well, she was transferred from Bristol this morning. A Lady Evelyn Smythe.
Yes, what about her?
Well, she insists on an immediate interview with you.
Well, every prisoner has a right to see me.
Oh, yes, I know, madam, but it was the way she did it, demanded to see you, and rather high and mighty. She claims to be a personal friend of yours, madam.
Surely it was made clear to you during our training, Miss Parsons, that no prisoner can be given preferential treatment, least of all by claiming personal acquaintance.
No, of course not, madam.
All right, I'll see her. I'd like you to stay, please.
Yes, madam. This way, please.
Oh, my dear Mrs. Boswell, I can't tell you what a relief it is to see you again.
Stand back. You will address the governor as madam.
Yes, Lady Smythe.
Mrs. Boswell, I have to talk to someone who understands me. Nobody will answer my questions. How long am I going to be here?
Well, all I can tell you is that you've been transferred here to await a date for your trial.
But I've been in custody now for nearly 5 weeks in Bristol. How much longer do I have to wait?
Well, that's difficult to say, but it must be soon. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been sent here.
Well, I'm being held quite wrongfully. I did not try to kill my husband. The whole thing was an accident.
The rights and wrongs of your case, Lady Smythe, are a matter for the courts, but you've got plenty of time to discuss it with your solicitor. As a prisoner of remand, of course, you are entitled to as many visits as you wish.
Visits? Do you think I want anyone to see me here, in a place like this?
I agree, it's not ideal, but it's the only place you've got for the moment. Are there any other questions you wish to ask me?
Surely you remember me, Mrs. Boswell. We've met before, at the opera.
If we have met before, then I'm afraid I don't remember. And I must tell you that it would have made no difference to your treatment here. Please try and remember that we're all here to help you, Miss Parsons and Mrs. Thomas, who's the assistant governor of your wing. As a prisoner on remand, you are presumed innocent until proved guilty. Thank you, Mrs. Armitage.
Right.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course.
Madam, is it really necessary to take 2 baths in one day?
Yes, it is necessary.
May I ask why?
Because that's the way we do things here. It's the regulations, and it will be in your interests to obey them. Thank you, Miss Parsons.
Evening, Duchess.
Good evening. I'm not too late, am I?
Oh, of course not, love. We never start without you.
Better take it. You won't get any nosh in this place if you don't.
Thank you.
You're Lady Smythe, ain't you?
Yes, how did you know?
I've seen you in the papers. You're famous. I never met a real lady before. Well, not one with the title, if you know what I mean. Oh, by the way, my name's Pauline Brooks.
How do you do, Pauline?
They got no right to put someone like you in a pigsty like this. People like you ought to get special treatment.
What are you in here for?
I'm on the game, you know.
The game?
Yeah, I'm a tart, ain't I? The money's good till you get a dose and you have to knock off for a bit. I got picked up by a plainclothes geezer. Just my luck, bloody snoopers. Why the hell don't they nationalise us or something? I mean, just think of all that money we could save the taxpayers.
Come on, get a move on there.
Not too much for me, please, miss, because I have to be careful of me figure, you know.
How revolting.
You have a complaint, Smythe?
Well, in the prison I've just come from, at least they knew how to cook. This stuff is appalling.
If you're not satisfied, Lady Smythe, I suggest you go and read the rules. Any prisoner on remand is entitled to have food sent in from outside.
Thank you.
Right, come along.
Don't worry, the first night's always the worst. I bet you've had some stuff-up meals in your time, ain't you?
I suppose so, yes. I don't eat a great deal and I can't cook. But I enjoy eating out in my favourite restaurants.
Must be marvellous being rich, being able to go out and buy just what you want.
Don't you believe it? These days it's a sin to have too much money. It's held against you.
No, she's kidding.
I beg your pardon?
I said, who are you kidding? We all know it's the likes of you that stops the Tories from going bust.
It may interest you to know that I have never voted Tory in my life.
Oh.
Getting it down all right, are you, Reet?
They've got no right to keep remand prisoners short of grub. We don't get enough to keep a sparrow alive.
Why don't you ring your mate Charlie up the Hilton and get him to send you in a nice lemon souffle, eh?
Would you care to have mine? Well, I don't have a large appetite. And anyway, my dear, I'm sure your need is greater than mine. Please, I'd like you to have it.
Bloody hypocrite.
No, Reet, she didn't mean no
Oh,
harm.
didn't she? Just look at her coming here, dressed up like a tart's parlour with them blown up tits. I think you're trying
You've heard the charge. Have you anything to say? Nothing at all.
No point, is there, madam?
Very well. 4 days, loss of pay and privileges. Right.
Right.
Who's next?
Lady Smythe, madam.
Good morning, Mrs. Boswell.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
There's just one question I want to ask you, Lady Smythe, about what happened last night. Did you offer your supper to Rita Hanson?
Yes, madam.
Why?
Because I couldn't eat the food. It was revolting.
Yet you thought it was good enough for Rita.
Well,
Were you shown a copy of the prison regulations when you arrived here yesterday?
Yes, madam.
Then you do know that as a prisoner on remand, you're entitled to have your food brought in at your own expense?
Yes, madam.
Do you wish to avail yourself of this privilege?
I most certainly do.
Very well. Attend to that, please, Miss Parsons.
I really can't see what all this fuss is about. After all, the woman looked hungry, so I merely
I know what you did was done with the best of intentions, but each woman has her own pride and self-respect, and when this is brought into question, she'll react accordingly. It's something we must all be aware of.
I see.
In future, if you have any complaints, will you please talk it over with the officer on your wing? Is that quite clear?
Yes, madam.
Stay where you are.
I have some details of your trial. It's to be held on the 13th at the Central Criminal Court.
The 13th.
Of course, that gives you plenty of time to have discussions with your solicitor before then, and Mr. Wainwright, isn't it?
Yes, madam.
You wish to ask me any questions?
No, thank you. I mean, yes, I would, please. My husband is still in hospital after the accident. I'd like permission to write him a letter, please.
Have you talked about this with Mr. Wainwright?
Yes, and he has advised me not to make contact, but if I could just see Henry once before the trial, if only I could talk to him, as we haven't talked for a long time. Please, Mrs. Boswell, let me write to him. I beg you.
Well, I'll have to consult the police and your solicitor before I can make a decision, but I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Governor. I'd like to try some of that, please. Thank you. That's all right. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Ah, Lady Smythe.
What on earth is that?
It's food, madam. I decided to send out for it. Miss Alton and Barclay were good enough to deliver it to the door, in spite of the address. But of course one gets no such help inside.
You got your appetite back, have you, Duchess?
Yes, at last, something I can eat. The trouble is, there's so much. I've overordered. I mean, you wouldn't be offended if I said come and join me.
Oh, no, I'm not so touchy.
Oh, no, dear, no, put that over there, dear, please.
Oh, thanks. It's lovely. Oh. I've forgotten what real food tasted like.
Yes, well, whatever's left over you can share out with the other girls. But I'll leave that to you to cope with. I shall be eating in a better place than this very soon.
You getting out?
Yes, I had a letter from my solicitor. I'm to appear in court tomorrow. I know my husband won't let me stay in here one moment longer than necessary, in spite of everything.
Oh, Duchess, I'm ever so pleased for you.
I don't know what came over me. I behaved like an animal. But I know he'll forgive me.
I knew things would work out for you.
Yes. There's some goodness in him. I know they'll understand.
I'll keep me fingers crossed. Everything okay? Did you get... You all right, Duchess? What happened?
It's just a game. Vicious, hateful game. I swear by Almighty God. Oh, God, such a fool. I might have known they'd tear me to pieces. They accuse me of cruelty and infidelity. Me. After all the years of playing the devoted wife, always by his side. The truth. Nothing but the truth. Oh, God.
Come in.
Here's the Home Office report.
Thank you.
Oh, any news on the Smythe trial?
Jury is still out.
Be interesting to see if she gets off after all the publicity.
Have you ever had to deal with a title prisoner before?
Yes, we had a Lord someone or other at Pentonville once. He was serving 3 months for driving a vehicle through the front door of a shop or something.
3 months?
Yes, unfortunately he was drunk in charge of an elephant which he was transporting to his safari park. Wonderful way with animals. Treated us as though we were all part of his zoo. He had a great sense of humour. Became one of our most popular inmates. We were sorry to see him go.
Governor. Yes? Yes. I see. Thank you for letting me know. Evelyn Smythe. 2 years attempted murder.
In you go.
There are 2 beds.
Yes,
Well, what right have you to put me in here with someone else?
every right. There's a shortage of accommodation in North Wing. If you don't get on, you can ask for a change in the morning.
You mean I'm sharing with someone tonight?
Yes, Mrs. But don't worry, I'll get used to you in time.
The Home Office are therefore considering the matter, and I hope to let you have a more detailed report in a few weeks' time.
Right, well, thank you, Charles. I think that's all. Unless, anyone has anything else?
Well, there is just one small thing, madam. We're a bit worried about Lady Smythe. She is the type of woman who has a very unsettling influence on people.
By the same token, Mrs. Armitage, I think we must consider the influence that the rest of the prison may have on her.
I don't think I quite understand you, madam.
Well, people like Lady Smythe have spent a better part of their lives and a considerable amount of money in cutting themselves off from common humanity. In prison, they're forced to rub shoulders with the very people that they've despised. That may not be a bad thing.
Well, I wasn't only thinking of the prisoners, madam.
I found Lady Smythe on remand difficult, madam. Well, particularly with the staff. She's bossy and inconsiderate.
Well, it's bound to take time, Miss Parsons.
Well, she must be treated the same as everyone else and take her share of the routine work.
She won't like being asked to scrub floors.
Why not? Might do her a world of good.
Where have you put her?
Well, she's sharing with Roberta Newby, Jamaican girl doing 2 years for GBH. I wouldn't like to have to sort those 2 out. Still, if that's the risk we have to take.
Is there an alternative?
No, madam. You know the problem as well as I do. It'll soon be 3 in a cell at the rate we're going.
It's a pity there's no vacancies for first offenders in one of the open prisons.
Yes, of course, that would have been the answer. Well, We'll just have to watch how it goes. Let me know if there's any sign of trouble. And keep quiet about Lady Smythe while she's here. There are plenty of newspapers that will pay a great deal of money to find out how she's coping with it all.
Hey, you! What kind of rubbish dump do you think this is? Get that trash off my bed!
How dare you?
Now you just watch your step, because I don't want any white fouling up my room. You see that line? You put your toe across that line, now cut it off! All right? Oh, wait, what's this then? That's a nice cat. Where did you shoot it? In the living room?
No, dear. I shot it in the jungle. Where you come from. So be careful. I'm a very good shot.
Walk away now, Jackie. Good night, Teresa. Go to sleep now, you two. Good night. Time you were in your bed.
Oh! Oh, no, don't put the lights out. I haven't finished doing my hair.
Come on now, swap out. Hurry along now, no slacking. Watch your buckets now, girls. Come on. Hurry along. Get a move on, Smile. Get a move on, I said.
That's it! I'm not sharing with that bitch anymore. If you don't get her away from us...
Roberta, this is stupid and unreasonable. You've only been sharing with Lady Smythe for a day. Why do you dislike her so much?
Because she thinks she's something, that's why. What's so special about her anyway after what she's done? There's no need to be posh in here. She's always dressing up as if she's going to some bloody cocktail party.
And what's wrong in keeping up appearances?
I'm not having nothing to do with her.
You know, I think you two could help each other if you really wanted to.
Me? Help that bitch? Have you taken your silly pills or something?
Don't talk to me like that, Roberta. I'm serious. Now, you just try and make the best of things.
Where I come from, her sort don't mix with the likes of us.
Then I suggest you make a start. Why don't you try talking to her?
Bloody hell.
What's up then, Bobby? Met someone your own size, eh?
Excuse me. I've been admiring your hair. I used to be a hairdresser, you see. I like to see people taking trouble with their appearance.
Thank you.
My name's Sylvie. Sylvie Matheson.
How do you do, Sylvie? Hello. I'm Evelyn Smythe.
I know. I hope you don't mind my talking to you.
No, of course not.
We're all a bit cagey about you. You see, we've never met anyone with a title before.
Oh, do we look so different? Some people think we are.
Oh, you don't want to take any notice of Bobby. She's got a chip, that's all.
Yes, I know. Actually, I haven't been much help.
Oh, she'll come round when she's good and ready. Trouble is, she doesn't know how. Here, come and meet some of the others.
Oh, no.
No, that's enough of that. You've got to start sometime. Come on. Evelyn, this is Gwyneth and Beryl and Teresa. Girls, this is Evelyn.
How do you do?
Here you are, Evelyn. You sit here.
Thank you.
All right.
What are you making?
Cigarette. What's it look like?
Oh, but it's so thin.
Yeah, well, we can't afford the tobacco, see?
Oh, well, I'm sure I can help.
Every packet carries a government health warning.
Call that a fag, do you?
Hello, here comes the expert. You mind your own business, Choco.
What kind of smoke do you think you're going to get with that, then?
It's okay by me. So
Gonna show us how to do it, are you then, Bobby? Ah, come on now, don't tell me you lost your
That's
touch.
right, Toffee Nose. We all know how you like to show off.
Me, Toffee Nose?
Yeah, you.
That's not me, that's that fan and...
Oh, for God's sake, Bobby, get on with it. Show us how clever you really are.
It's easy. Any idiot can do it. If you don't put the tobacco in proper, you're not going to get a good smoke, are you?
Now you only get a couple of puffs out of it.
I wouldn't mind even one puff at the moment.
Would it is that bad? I say, she's really got the knack, eh, girls?
Oh.
I think that's very clever.
Oh, come on, Gwyneth, I'll give you a game of ping pong.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Come on, Phil. Beat me again. Yes,
They're all you want.
Oh, that's very kind, but thank you. I don't smoke.
Oh, that's good. You'll have enough money for makeup and shampoos then, won't you? How long are you inside for?
2 years.
Oh, your time doesn't go quick in here, you know. Every day seems like a year.
Yes, I suppose so.
There's no good feeling sorry for yourself. That'll only make things worse. If you don't learn to stand up for yourself in here, you're going to get knocked down.
Well, what are you in for, Roberta?
Beat up your landlady, didn't I?
Beat her up.
Do you know how much rent you charged me? £6.50. £6.50 for one crummy room. I'm glad I beat the sod up.
Glad?
Yes, why not?
This landlady, did you beat her up because she was white?
No, the bitch wasn't white. She was my colour. That's why she got what's coming to her.
Oh, well, that's one thing we can't complain about in here.
The rent is very reasonable.
Can I have your attention, everyone, a moment, please? No, just a minute. I want a few more volunteers for the discussion group, please. Only 2 people have put their names down so far. Well, come on, the details are on the notice board. It's nothing to get strung up about, you know. Any offers? Beryl. Well, Sylvie, you're good with a chat. No one? Man, you are a feeble lot, aren't you? It's not an interrogation, just a bit of harmless chit-chat, that's all. Very well. Thank you.
Oh, I'd like to volunteer.
Thank you, Lady Smythe.
Well, I suppose it can't do any harm.
Well done, Sylvie. Anyone else?
Well, I am much good with the chat, but I'll give it a go.
Beryl, Sylvie.
Well, silly goes, I'll have a go as well.
Right, Gwyneth.
I'll have a grouse.
Yeah, I bet you will, Tilly. Eleanor. And Roberta. Right, thank you very much. Go on, carry on. Are you awake, Duchess?
Yes.
Are you going to appeal against your sentence?
No.
Why not? You don't want to spend the next 2 years in here, do you?
I haven't much to look forward to outside.
Neither have I. I'd rather be miserable outside than in here. You want to think about it. Think really hard. 'Cause you can afford lawyers and all that jazz.
Yes, I suppose I can. I couldn't face that court again. What would I want to prove? That I'm less selfish, less greedy, less of a hypocrite than the man I set out to get. Maybe I've deserved all this. It was fine as long as he needed me. He had ambition. I had the social connections, the figure, the looks. And when he'd got all he wanted, he thought he could sweep me aside. Shut me away in the country. Run off to the sun with his women. Leave me to rot. Then
couldn't take it anymore. I didn't plan it. I didn't want it to happen. I think I nearly killed him. Poor Henry. I was foolish enough to think that you still cared for me a little. But it's too late. The scars are too deep. You've got your revenge.
Nora, Vera, Joan and Philip are kitchen duties. Renee, Sylvie, Suzanne are machine rooms. Beryl and Evelyn cleaning duties, centre block.
What
Everyone
again?
else pencil packing. I beg your pardon, Smythe.
This is the third time I've been put down for scrubbing floors in the last few days. Is there a staff shortage or something?
Stop that noise at once.
Anything wrong, Miss Flaxton?
Yes, there is, Miss Harker. Surely there must be some other job I can do instead of scrubbing floors all the time.
If you've any complaints, then make your application to see the governor in the usual way.
It's all right, Miss Flaxton. I'll attend to this. Will you come into my office, please?
Hurry along now. Stop your giggling and get on to your work.
Now then, what's all this about?
If that woman has anything to do with it, I shall spend the rest of my time here scrubbing floors.
You mean Miss Flaxton?
Every time I see her, she glares at me. She gives me every unpleasant job she can find.
That's imagination, surely. You all have to share what work there is.
Miss Harker, I have always been an active woman. I do not intend to spend the rest of my time here doing nothing.
Well, there's always pencil packing.
Pencil packing? You expect me to occupy my mind fiddling with pencils?
It could earn you 35p a week.
35 pence. Have you any idea what I'm worth?
Good morning.
Good morning, Governor.
Mrs. Boswell, if I'm not given something more useful to do, I shall go out of my mind.
Yes, I can understand your frustration, but I'm afraid you'll have to accept the work that's allocated to you. We do it fairly, we think.
Fairly? For the last few days, I've done nothing but scrub floors. For 3 consecutive days. I think it's most unfair.
I gather that you've put your name down for the discussion group. Is that right?
Yes.
Good. Well, I think you'll find it most useful. Anyway, see how you go, and we'll discuss it later then, shall we? In the meantime, I'm afraid you'll have to accept the routine work that's on the schedule. Difficult woman.
Bastards! Naughty, naughty. I've never said that word before. I rather enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mrs. Armitage. Would you check the duty roster of Evelyn Smythe on North Wing, just confidentially, and let me have a list of the duties, please?
Well, certainly, madam. Is there a problem?
Well, she's complained about scrubbing floors for 3 consecutive days. Now, could that be right?
3 days? It's unusual. Perhaps it's due to sickness she's had to fill in.
I passed her just now, on her knees, scrubbing. She didn't seem to mind. In fact, she called me a...
What?
Well, I don't think it was meant to be heard.
I'll check it, madam. Miss Flaxton will have the answer, I'm sure.
Come along. You all must have something you want to get off your chest, surely.
Well, why don't we ask each other questions?
I got a question, miss.
Yes, Gwyneth.
Why don't you get us a few blokes in here, then?
Do you miss the telephone, then?
What was that you said?
Oh, nothing.
Listen, here you are.
Oh,
It's so childish. She's all cow.
Oh, she didn't mean any harm.
She's always doing it.
Tilly, how long have you been inside?
14 months, 1 week and 4 days.
And what are the things that you miss most from outside, Tilly?
I don't miss nothing.
What about your old man? Don't you miss him?
Oh, yes, I suppose so. He always comes to see me whenever I'm allowed a visitor. It upsets him to see me like this. He did his best to keep me out of trouble. But he still comes to see me.
Well, I miss me Fix.
Fix?
Yeah, heroin. Drugs, dear? They're trying to get me off them. God, I miss it.
You take drugs, Beryl?
Of course. Shocked.
Have you a headache, Morag?
Oh, it's nothing. I'll soon be all right. Anything you want?
And have you the duty rosters for the last 3 days?
Roster. Oh, yes. Yeah. Something wrong?
I hope not. Thank you.
What do you want? Why here?
I've been to the doctor with a splitting headache. Would you kindly unlock my cell? Please.
Wait by the door. I'll come in a moment. I'm busy.
Miss Flaxton, please. Miss Flaxton, I've asked you, please open my door.
I know.
Well, have I done anything to upset you?
Depends what you mean.
I want to know what I've done to upset you.
Why do you want to know?
It's obvious, surely. I know something's wrong. Now, please tell me what it is.
You really want to know, do you? Very well. I'll tell you. In with you. I don't like you, Mrs. Smythe. I don't like your type or anything you stand for. You've done nothing but try to make me look small ever since you arrived in the wing.
But that's not true.
I've had to work hard for what I've got, and for very little money. Nothing's ever come easy to me.
But is that the reason you dislike me?
Think you're clever, don't you? Got all the answers, haven't you? Well, just let me tell you something. You're no better than any one of the slags in this place.
Leave her alone, you. You've got no right to talk to her like that. I'm going to report you to the governor.
Not without an application, you do.
You've got a nasty evil mind, you have.
Why, you little...
Get out!
No, please.
Get out of my way!
No, don't take that on Roberta. It's not her fault, it's mine. It's nothing to do with Roberta.
You've heard the charge. Have you anything to say?
No, madam.
Nothing at all. Then I take it you accept full responsibility for what happened last night?
Yes, madam.
Will you tell me why you would do such a thing?
It was a misunderstanding. I had a headache, and I wanted to get back into my cell.
Is that enough reason to provoke an attack on Miss Flaxton?
I had no right to lose my temper. It was a silly thing to do. I suppose it's because I'm so used to having things done when I want them done.
Are there any witnesses?
Roberta Newby, madam.
Oh, no, please, leave Roberta out of this. She had nothing to do with it. She's just a child. She wouldn't understand. No, what happened last night was no one's fault but my own.
Let me warn you, Lady Smythe, that we don't tolerate troublemakers in Stone Park. If you can't learn to settle down like everyone else, the only person to suffer for it will be yourself. You leave me no alternative but to fine you. 2 days loss of pay and privileges, 48 hours solitary confinement. That's all.
Right.
Thank you, Miss Flaxton.
Thank you, madam.
All right, Morag. Suppose you tell me what all this is about.
There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just shaken, that's all.
I don't believe you. I know you too well for that. You've been on edge for some time now.
On edge? No such thing.
Has this got anything to do with Evelyn Smythe?
What are you trying to suggest?
Why do you dislike that woman so much?
What about Miss Berriman, Miss Harker, the others? Why don't you ask them?
I'm not thinking of them. It's you.
Excuse me, I've got work to do.
The duty rosters. Has it really been necessary to allocate Smythe such a large share of the cleaning duties? Now, you're a good officer, Morag. One of the best. And I don't want you to make a fool of yourself. Is there something more you should tell me about last night?
Thank you. Good morning. This is quite informal. May I sit down? I wanted to say how sorry I am that all this has happened. It's very unfortunate. But who is it that you're trying to protect?
I've already told you. What happened last night was no one's fault but my own.
I simply cannot believe that you would attack anyone without being provoked. Now, for your own sake, will you please tell me what it was that upset you so much?
I was impatient. And I didn't stop to think what I was doing. I'm taking my punishment.
Very well.
Yeah, would you like? Well, no, I mean, if you don't make it, you can do anything, can't you? Well, it's just the same.
What on earth is she doing in the library?
Oh, just trying to draw attention to herself, I should think. But Miss Harker and Mr. Radley are there. They'll soon get her out.
Well, let's hope so.
Yes, madam.
Is there anything else?
Yes, madam. Miss Flaxton would like to have a word with you.
Well, can't it wait? I really am very busy.
It could, but I don't think it should.
All right, I better see her then.
Roberta, you're getting out of prison in a few days. Why make things difficult for yourself?
I'm not coming out. I'm not talking to anybody but the governor.
Roberta, are you listening? Whatever it is you're trying to prove can only be done if you'll come out here and talk it over. Now, if you do that, I promise to take you to see the governor myself, all right?
If anybody wants to go snooping behind my back, then that's it. They can do the job themselves. Just let them have a try. I've given everything to this job and got nothing in return. Nothing but insults, meanness, and mistrust. I know they all hate me, but now you, the one person I've respected, now you're putting the knife in. Well, that's it. I'm going. You can get someone else.
Miss Flaxton, please pull yourself together.
I mean it. You can get somebody else to do the dirty work.
Sit down and listen to me. Now listen. I know what you've gone through, and I know there are times when it gets too much. Believe me, I felt the same way myself, often enough. But this isn't the time to make rash decisions. You work very hard, too hard, and I know the responsibilities that you have. But you mustn't for a moment imagine that we don't need you here. I need you. The prison service needs people like you. But you've got to take a rest.
I'm sorry, madam, but it's no use. I can't go on. I can't take it. Not from both sides.
Miss Flaxton, do you mind if I ask you something?
No, madam.
Is everything all right at home? You look after your mother, don't you?
Yes, madam.
Is she all right?
She's not well. Not well at all. She gets very difficult at times and needs a lot of attention. And I'm at home so little. I suppose that's what it is. I was going to ask for sick leave, but decided against it.
Pity. Because if you had, this might never have happened. We've just got to know when to give in, you know. I'm going to send you off duty until further notice, Miss Flaxton, because you've got to have that rest. Of course, I shall have to submit a report to the Home Office and they'll make a full inquiry, but you're a good officer. I'll see that your case is presented fairly. Take your time, think things over. Then come and talk to me. Any time you want.
Cup of tea, Duchess.
Thank you, Tilly.
Sit down.
What you did to Evelyn Smythe was wrong.
What do you mean?
She shouldn't have got no solitary. It was me that went for Flaxton.
Well, why didn't you say so?
She wouldn't let us, would she?
Who wouldn't?
The Duchess. She said Flaxton's sick. And why didn't Flaxton tell you? I'll tell you why. That bitch is prejudiced. She's had it in for the Duchess for a long time.
You and Lady Smythe have become quite good friends, haven't you?
Nobody's ever stuck up for me before. Not like the Duchess. I don't care what she's done. She shouldn't be in here.
None of us can take the law into our own hands, Roberta. I think I know why you wanted to see me. You've met someone that you need, and you trust, and you don't want to leave here, do you? Well, I can't keep you here, Roberta. But in a few days' time, when you leave prison, I would like you to try and keep in contact with Evelyn Smythe. I think you can both help one another.
Yes, well, I think that's just about everything. Well, don't forget your toothbrush. Well, don't look so sad. You're going home, aren't you?
I've got no home, you know that.
I thought you said you were going to stay with your uncle.
And you've seen my uncle, he's a drag.
Yes, well, you make the best of it, you hear? And then you won't find yourself back in this place.
Hope you get somebody nice to share with.
Oh, don't you worry. If she gives me any trouble, I'll just... Thank you. Yes, I shall keep it.
Duchess, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Why do you take the blame for something you didn't do?
I'm not sure.
Flaxton's not worth it.
Oh, Roberta, she's probably a very good prison officer. No, I don't think I did it for her. I think I did it for myself.
For yourself?
Oh, it would take far too long to explain. I'll tell you one of these days when I get out of here.
All right, newbie, let's get going.
Oh, please, Miss Berryman, can we have just one more minute?
Well, hurry up then. I haven't got all day, you know.
Quick now, you take this.
What is it?
Well, it's my solicitor's address. When you get yourself settled, I want you to go and see him. I've arranged for you to have a little cash.
No,
oh,
Duchess.
Don't be silly, dear. It's just a little something to tide you over till you get on your feet again.
Are you coming or aren't you?
Duchess?
Well, go on. Don't keep Uncle waiting.